Shofar. We're going to start off with our credo, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4.
Shema Yasharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one power. Shema Yasharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one power. Shema Yasharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one power.
Shalom, we give our praise to the Most High for this lesson. We apologize for being a little late. This is our Hebrew Israelite language lesson 20, and we're going to be going over part 2 of our vegetables. I am a Kawath Melka, and I am a Kawath Amuna. We have our announcements. Feast of Purim, February 13th and the 14th. Passover, March 13th and 14th. We have the Feast of Unleavened Bread, March 15th through March 21st. We have our Hebrew language classes every Wednesday at 9 p.m., our book report Thursdays at 9 p.m. We have our Friday Shabbat lessons at 9 p.m., and our Saturday Shabbat lessons at 1 p.m., all Eastern Standard Time. January 11th at 1 p.m., we have Women's Doctrine. The shepherd's going to be speaking on that, teaching. Now, before we get started with our Hebrew words, we're going to go through the story of Daniel. We're going to get Daniel chapter 1. We're going to read verses 5 through 16. Now, this is the story of Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys, and we're going to see what happened with him and King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel chapter 1, verse 5. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Okay? So this is the story of Daniel and King Nebuchadnezzar. He offers them meat and wine, and it says the king's meat. We know he was a Babylonian king, so this meat could have been offered to idols. Verse 7 and 8. Verse 7, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and unto Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. But Daniel proposed in his heart, and he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Okay. So we can compare this to, he would rather die than eat the king's meat. Now, at this point, the eunuch did not give him an alternative. So Daniel would rather starve himself rather than defile himself. We're going to get verse 9 and 10. Verse 9. Now the Most High had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse likened than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king. So this is verse 9 is like the story of Joseph, where he's given favor with the prince or with the Pharaoh in Egypt. It says here, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. So the eunuch is fearful of the king, of Nebuchadnezzar. Verse 11 and 12. 11. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and and water to drink. Here, pulse means vegetables. So Daniel says that give me 10 days. Let us eat the vegetables, the nuts, the berries. Let us eat what we eat according to the Hebrew diet, and then come back and see how our confidence will be. Verse 13 and 14. Verse 13. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. So this is where we get Daniel had the favor like Joseph did. The eunuch was afraid of Nebuchadnezzar, and he allowed them the 10 days. Verse 15 and 16. Verse 15. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus, Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. So, as we know the ending of the story, Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys were allowed to eat that pulse. They were allowed to take part in their diet and not eat the king's meat. So why are we reading these verses? And it's because we're going to talk about the Daniel's fast. We're going to discuss what it is, and we're going to see what the scripture says. The Daniel's fast is based on verses from the Bible found in Daniel chapter 10, verses 2 through 3. And we're going to read those. Daniel chapter 10, verses 2 through 3. Daniel chapter 10, verse 2. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. It says, I ate no pleasant bread, neither flesh nor wine in my mouth. Now, this is based on what makes this based on the Daniel's fast is because during that diet, you're not allowed to eat bread with leaven in it. You're not able to drink anything but water, nor eat any meat. It's strictly vegetables, as we saw previously with the 3 Hebrew boys. These 3 weeks refer. Yeah.
So in Daniel 1, that was the first instance of the Daniel fast, or like?
Well, then it wasn't called the Daniel fast.
Right,
but as people read the scripture now, they call it the Daniel fast.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't something that the Bible established, and we're going to get that later.
Okay.
So in Daniel chapter 10, verse 2, it talks about the 3 weeks. Now, these 3 weeks refer to observance of Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which takes place during the first month of the year. And that's in Exodus 12, 1 through 20. Some also may cite the example in Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. However, in this verse, Daniel did not want to eat the king's delicacies because it would have included food that was forbidden by the Mosaic law, which is Leviticus 11. To eat it would be defiling his body. And again, we know that it's swine. Another reason, as we previously discussed, is that the king's meat could have been sacrificed to the Babylonian false idols. Now, Daniel believed to eat these meats would be acknowledging their idols and deities against the Most High's commandment. So it's like when you go to a Yafet restaurant and you see they have Buddhas and dragons. You see they have idols, and you still decide to eat there. Now, if this place sacrifices this to these or their food to their idols, you can be in covenant with that, and you're acknowledging their idols over the Most High. So why is the Daniel fast done? Well, the Daniel fast is cleansing your body by omitting certain foods for a limited time. The deeper and true basis of intent is for spiritual connection. So Christians believe that this fast is to seek more of an intimate relationship with the Most High while ridding your body of unnatural, self-gratifying foods and drink. During this time of the Daniel fast, your focus is to be on the Most High, not fleshly, worldly things. Too often, the focus of fasting is on the lack of food. Instead, the purpose of fasting should be to take your eyes off the things of this world to focus completely on the Most High. Now, this would be equivalent to the Day of Atonement, where people are saying and thinking about what they're going to eat at sundown, when your mind should be on the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if you constantly thinking about what you're gonna eat at sundown, are you really fasting?
What?
If you're constantly like if you're supposed to be fasting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether Day of Atonement or you're just regularly just fasting, are you really fasting if you're thinking about what you're gonna eat after that fast is done?
It's like that fasting becomes in vain. Like, what are you doing for if you're still thinking about, your mind's not on the Most High or what it's supposed to be on.
Okay.
We're going to get some guidelines for the Daniel's fast. During this fast, you are to eat fruits, vegetables, and nuts. You're only to drink water to flush out the toxins of your body. Some say natural fruit juices may be included if they contain no preservatives or sugars, because again, it's the cleansing of the body as well. But even those juices should be limited. Coffee and tea are also not permitted. Yes.
And it's awesome that you guys are bringing this out because I say about like 6 months ago, there was a brother Yehu, and we were talking about the fast because it came up like because you're not supposed to fast on on the Sabbath day,
Mm-hmm.
and then he brought up he was like, well, Yeshaya fasted for 40 days, 40 nights. Moses fasted 40 days and 40 nights. Did they fast on the Sabbath? So that comes into question. What kind of fasting did they do? We're not supposed to do a dry fast or not eat anything or do anything like that on the Sabbath day. So
Mm-hmm.
What kind of fast? When it came to the Sabbath, what did they do?
Well, we know with the Bible doesn't record that he did, but what it said with Yeshaya, he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, so he didn't have anything to eat or to drink.
Okay. Yeah, because after it says he's a hunger, like right after the 40 days and 40 nights he fasted, he was a hunger. So.
Yeah, and it's not like there was some big secret to it. If it says Yeshaya fasted 40 days, 40 nights, it's not something like underneath it. The scripture is what it says. He fasted 40 days, 40 nights. So we don't need to argue, well, did he fast on a Shabbat or, whatever the case is.
Right.
So going back to the Daniel's fast, the Daniel fast should eliminate all meats, pastries, chips, bread, and fried food. Bread contains yeast, baking powder. So those leavening agents should be avoided. So back in Daniel, it says, I ate no pleasant bread. That's talking about the pastries. Things made with yeast. Yeah. We're going to get 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6 through 8. And we're going to see why these different breads with the leaven, they said not to eat. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Mashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore, let us keep the feast not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So because leaven is symbolic for sin, you're not able to eat bread with leaven in it during this Daniel fast. With these things listed, it is concluded that any food having artificial additives, chemicals, or that is processed should be totally avoided during the fast. Fruits and vegetables are a mainstay of the Daniel fast, meaning the main focus, and can be acceptably prepared in a variety of ways. Many fasting recipes and several cookbooks are designed for the Daniel fast. It is important to note that the Bible nowhere commands believers to observe the Daniel fast. The book of Acts records believers fasting before they made important decisions, and that's Acts 13:2 and Acts 14:23. And fasting and prayer are often linked together, as we see in Luke 2:37 and Luke 5:33. With that being said, if you go into like a Christian bookstore, you see where there's this Daniel fast cookbook and different stuff like that. So people are actually making money off this Daniel fast. You see celebrities doing the Daniel fast.
Mm-hmm. You know, when we first joined our first Christian church in 2008, the year prior to that, before we got there, they were saying how the entire church went on the Daniel fast and they lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where is that in the Bible? I had never heard of that. But apparently people make a lot of money off of this.
Mm-hmm. Even celebrities nowadays are doing it. I just read somewhere online today in the news that Chris Pratt said that for his New Year's resolution, he was going to do the Daniel's fast so he can lose weight and get spiritually closer to God.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's what you do, lose weight to get closer to.
Yeah. So we're gonna get our we're gonna get our first Hebrew word, cucumber. In Hebrew, cucumber is pronounced malapapawan. Malapapawan. So for our nutritional facts, it is high in nutrients such as protein. It has 2 grams of protein in it. Fiber, vitamin C and vitamin K, magnesium and potassium. It contains antioxidants, and antioxidants are molecules that block oxidation, which is a chemical reaction that forms highly reactive atoms within unpaired electrons, known as free radicals. And the accumulation of free radicals, they harm the body and they can lead to several types of chronic illnesses. Cucumbers also promote hydration, they lower blood sugar, and they help you have regular bowel movements. So if you're constipated, eating cucumbers will help clear that right out. And they also originated in India. Next we have the eggplant. In Hebrew, eggplant is pronounced katazayal.
Katazayal.
Katazayal is a high fiber and low calorie food that is rich in nutrients and comes with many potential health benefits, from reducing the risk of heart disease to helping with blood sugar control. It is considered a superfood, and this too also originated in India.
What is that?
Eggplant.
Oh, I'm going to tell y'all.
I know. Next we have fennel. In Hebrew, fennel is pronounced shawamar.
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 Shawamar. Oh, shit, right now.
Shamawar is thought to have originated in southern Europe and Mediterranean regions. Fennel is considered an herb, a type of herb from the carrot family. The seeds and extracted oil are used for not only eating but for certain scents as well. They're also used for soaps and perfumes, as well as pastries. And some examples of pastries are sweet pickles and fish. Oh, I'm sorry. Sweet pickles and fish. And some examples of pastries would be upside down orange and fennel cake and cranberry orange sherbet with fennel seeds.
Don't they sell that at Great America Fennel Creek?
That's funnel cake.
Yeah.
And what people also do with the seeds is that they candy caramelize the seeds and they eat them that way too. Fennel is loaded with fiber, potassium, and vitamin C, and it supports heart health. It lowers the total amount of cholesterol in the bloodstream. Our next word is garlic. In Hebrew, garlic is pronounced shawam.
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 Shawam reduce risk of lung cancer and brain cancer, as well as hip osteoarthritis. It protects the heart and it reduces high cholesterol and high blood pressure, as well as reduce the risk of prostate cancer. And those are some examples from scientific studies that they have been proven to work. That is garlic, and it originated from Asia. And we do see that garlic is mostly used in everything, from seasoning, from seasoning to the whole clothes. We're gonna get 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 38 through 41. This is a story of Elisha and the poisonous pottage. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 38. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 38. And Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophets were sitting before him. And he said unto his servant, Set on the great pot, and seeth pottage for the sons of the prophets. And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild gourds in his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. Hold there. So verse 38, there was a famine in the land. Elisha, like it says, he came to Gilgal. Now where this Gilgal is, it is said to be a type of school or college for the sons of prophets, for them to learn how to be a prophet and how to operate.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, they were hungry. So a servant is sent out, and it says that the servant could have been Gehazi. And he's sent to get this pottage. We're going to get verse 40 through 41. Verse 40. So they poured out for the men to eat, and it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O thou man of the Most High, there is death in the pot, and they could not eat thereof. But he said, Then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot. And he said, Pour out for the people, that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. So here, Elisha is seen, he has taken over after Elijah. So he's seen as the head prophet over this school at this point. So when the pottage was boiled, they poured it into dishes or basins for the sons of prophet to eat. Now this pottage was so bitter that they said there must be some poisonous herb in it. They stopped eating it because it was disagreeable to them, and they supposed it was dangerous. Now, the servant that went out to pick up the vegetables for it, and remember, there was a famine in the land, so whatever was living at this time is what he picked up to eat. Now, a type of gourd that he found was not edible, which made it bitter. So, again, the food was so scarce that he picked up anything that was able. He boiled the gourd, and that what made it taste terrible. And that's why they thought it was poisonous. And then here Elisha, he comes and where is it? Yes, then bring meal. So he brought something, when meal is something like cornmeal, something to kind of balance out that taste. He basically fixed the food where they were able to eat it. Our next set of vegetables, we have lentils. Lentils is pronounced Idishayam. Idishayam. Oh.
So
Did you get a chance to write it down?
Ask for some.
Idishayam.
Idishayam. Idishayam. I'm going to Walmart.
Idishayam is indigenous to Western and Central Asia. They are high in protein and a good source of iron. They are full of fiber. Lentils are also good for your bones. You can also get a lentil-based pasta for those who don't eat white flour and you just don't like the taste of wheat flour pasta. You can get lentil-based pasta.
We're going to look for some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't get with wheat pasta. I've tried, and I
bland.
just can't. White is not good for me.
Right.
Wheat tastes funny to me, so we're going to try some lentil pasta. They probably don't sell that in this country.
Our next word is lettuce. In Hebrew, lettuce is pronounced kasa.
Kasa.
Kasa. Kasa. Kasa originated in Egypt. It provides the body with antioxidants that help keep your immune system healthy. It contains vitamin C, calcium, and potassium. Onion. In Hebrew, onion is pronounced batazal.
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 Now it sounds like some medication.
It do.
Batazal.
Oh, it did. Batazal originated in Asia or Iran. Onions lower heart disease. Their potent anti-inflammatory properties may also help reduce high blood pressure and protect against blood clots. A lot of people ask the question, why do you cry when you cut onions? And this is because onions produce the chemical irritant known as synpropantheol S oxide, which stimulates the eyes' lacrimal gland so they release tears. Onions also detox the body, so when people are sick, and I know even people in this very room, when they have gotten sick, they cut up onions and they put them in the bottom of their socks while they sleep at night. And when you take the sock off with the onion, you can see where the onion turns colors, like it's a dark color, and that's from where it pulls the toxins out of your body through your feet. Another interesting, yes, it does work. And another interesting fact with the onions is that the same chemical that makes you cry when you cut them is the same chemical that they use in tear gas. Peas. In Hebrew, peas is pronounced apawana.
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 Apawana originated from Mediterranean, and from the Mediterranean. They help with digestion. They are a good source of iron. They build immunity for good eye and heart health. They're good for your skin health. And all these reasons is why people feed their babies mashed peas when they're learning how to eat solid foods. Peas are good for men's health, and it is accepted all over the world that the proper etiquette way of eating peas is to smash them with the back of your fork and then eat them. So they say it's not correct if you use a spoon and scoop them up to eat them. We're going to get Romans chapter 14, verses 2 through 4. Romans 14, verses 2 through 4. Romans chapter 14, verse 2. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for the Most High hath received him. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant?
Could you read that again? Verse 4.
Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for the Most High is able to make him stand. Here, every believer has their own convictions in life. Some have found complete freedom in your child, while others continue to wrestle with certain things. Paul gives instruction to both types of believers to accept and encourage each other without passing judgment. Here, the example he used was the difference between Hebrew believers and Gentile believers. The Gentiles had no convictions about eating certain meat, but the Hebrews would only eat vegetables for the fear of breaking the Old Testament dietary law. Paul said that the Gentiles should not look down on the Hebrews because their faith has them on a limited diet, and vice versa. Next, we have the pepper. In Hebrew, pepper is pronounced palapal.
Palapal.
Palapal. Palapal.
Palapal.
Palapal originated from India. It's good for the digestive tract, and it promotes a healthy heart. A healthy heart. It lessens migraines, and it relieves joint pain. It improves metabolism, and it fights flu and colds as well as fungal infections. Our next word is potato. In Hebrew, potato is pronounced the pawak.
The power.
Say that again.
The pawak.
The power.
The pawak.
The power.
The pawak originated in Peru in around the time of 8000 BC. They are full of antioxidants and they improve digestive health. They are naturally gluten-free for anyone who is allergic to gluten. And they can be cooked in any kind of way. So they can be steamed, they can be boiled, they can be fried, even though that's not really a healthy way to go about it. They can be baked, you can do anything with them. Saute them, whatever you want.
So, I have a question.
Yes.
How can we have Hebrew words for these vegetables and they did not originate in Israel?
So, because Israel is still, they were still countries that are around them. So it was still the whole thing with trade.
But this is, you said Peru.
Mm-hmm.
Peru is in South America.
Mm-hmm.
So how can there be trade from South America to Israel in 600 or whatever BC?
8,000 BC.
Yeah, how can we have a Hebrew word for it if the originating was halfway around the world?
Because we still had the 10 tribes that were over in like North America and that area over there. So then there still would have been some type of trade going on. They knew
At 8,000 BC? You said it originated at 8,000 BC, right?
around there that time.
So the 10 tribes didn't go until 700 BC. Okay, Second Ezra, the 13th chapter says that they went to Azur, a land that was unknown. So that's how.
Well, let's get it.
That's
I'm trying to give y'all a teaching point. You don't just mess it up.
no, that's basically what we said. Those people over there.
There ain't nobody over there at 8,000 BC. There is no 8.
The world says around 8,000 BC. We know the times is all messed up. Like when they said
Okay, go
dinosaurs.
ahead. Let's get the scripture. Let it speak for itself.
Okay.
Let the word speak for itself.
Second Ezra,
You're not reading
chapter
all of
13. Second Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40. Starting at verse 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then shewed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. Then, yeah, that was verses 39 to 45.
And where did you say this?
Peru.
Peru. And Peru is where?
South America.
South America.
Is that what that just said?
Mm-hmm. Arsareth.
Arsareth was North and South America.
Oh, Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Talks about that, would be a precept to the scripture. Deuteronomy 30. Oh, Deuteronomy 29 and 28. Starting at verse 27. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. And the Lord rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day.
You can say what land?
No, it doesn't say what land, but remember, this is a prophet. This is prophecy.
Prophecy that they would be cast into another.
Right. They didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So it's still by trade. Yes. Next we have pumpkin. In Hebrew, pumpkin is pronounced delight.
The law.
Delight.
The lie.
Delight. Yes. You had
So Going back to Genesis. Going back to Genesis on what we were just talking about, right?
Mhm.
With the, how the question that Abaya asked,
Mhm.
that how could it have a Hebrew name if it originated in Peru,
Mhm.
right? We all know that Hebrew is the language of creation. So all of these different herbs were created from the very beginning. And Adam gave a name to all those herbs, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So if Hebrew stayed with Eber, and Eber's children,
Mhm.
right? So they had already had everything. They already had it because it's in our history, the names and stuff.
Okay. All right.
All right. Precept number 2. I'm just
So pumpkins originated in Mexico around 7,000 BC. They reduce the risk of chronic diseases. They are packed with vitamins that boost immunity and help protect your eyesight. We have radish. In Hebrew, radish is pronounced Tazanayanawa. Tazanawanaya.
Tazanawanaya.
Yes.
About the pumpkin in Mexico, they sell a lot of cheese grits with pumpkin flour in it. It's like the seed in the flour. They eat it.
So they make flour out of pumpkins?
The pumpkin comes out of like a flour. So like the pumpkin flour, it comes like it's made into they put it with the canellas and the like the blue tortillas from the corn chips that they use.
Mm-hmm. So like how the carrot comes from a flour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, carrot flour.
So what is how a carrot is grown?
Yeah. So where it comes from.
So like carrot is the root. So it means pumpkin would be the root of that flour. So pumpkin considered a root. Hence why people make pumpkin spice tea or pumpkin pie. Radish originated in China. They're packed with vitamin E, A, C, B6, and K. Plus, it's high in antioxidants, fiber, and zinc. And zinc is important because it is found in cells throughout the body, and it helps the immune system fight off invading bacteria and viruses. So radishes improve the immune system. Research states that when a person is sick, it is also good for them to consume radishes regularly. So more than what they would have ate if they were not sick. Okay. Yes.
Excuse me, language. It was squash, calabaza is squash, no pumpkin.
Oh, okay.
No.
Wait, what happened?
It was squash. Well, it's still part of the gourd family. So.
Yeah, no, it's not pumpkin. It's squash flower. I was like, wait, calabaza pumpkin? No, yeah, it's a squash. It's not a pumpkin.
Yeah, I forgot her name. We're gonna get the last scripture for the night. Proverbs 15, verse 17. Proverbs 15 and 17. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 17. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. So here, a dinner of herbs or vegetables is considered to be a typical dinner for poor people. The ox is speaking of some fairly expensive meat. Herbs here, of course, is speaking of vegetables. What this scripture is telling us is that pleasant company is far more important at a meal than the food on a table. So you can have, the meal you eat.
What you talking about?
It's better to be around family or people you love or people you enjoy being around than the meal that's on the table. So you could have a plate of nothing but cauliflower, but if you're around people that just make you feel happy, it'll taste like you eating a $20 steak.
That's mad.
Or a $36 steak.
Yeah. We're going to get our last couple of Hebrew words. We have spinach. In Hebrew, spinach is pronounced tharad.
Tharad.
The rod originated in Persia in 647 AD. It was not known as spinach. In Persia, it was known as the Persian vegetable. So that's what they called it. It includes vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin K. And spinach is also known as a superfood, and it is important for your skin, your hair, and your bone health. The tomato. In Hebrew, tomato is pronounced agab banana yaya.
Agabanaya.
Agab banana yaya. Agab banana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Tomatoes originated in Peru. They were first cultivated by the Aztecs and Incas as early as 700 AD. They reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer. They are also full of vitamin C, potassium, vitamin K, and folate, which is a type of vitamin B. It helps with the eyes, the skin, the bones, and the teeth, and they're also good for your kidneys. And if I personally did not like tomatoes, I would not eat them. I would always pick them off of whatever I'm eating. But recently, my akawa here has found a way to make tomatoes more enjoyable. Would you care to share?
Well, with the grape tomatoes, when we would cook them, we slice them in half, and then you just put like a little olive oil with garlic on it, and you put them with the Italian seasoning, and then you just put them in the oven, and that's how you cook them. And it brings out like the different flavor in it.
It does. It doesn't taste like you're eating a tomato.
Thank you for that recipe.
Yeah.
Our last vegetable is turnip. In Hebrew, turnip is pronounced lapap.
Lapap.
Lapap originated from Asia. They have anti-cancer properties. They help control blood sugar. They're a natural anti-inflammatory. They protect against harmful bacteria. They protect your liver, and they promote bone health.
Next week, we're going to have general foods and drinks. So we're going to have, with general foods, it's just different foods that don't have like a set category. So do we have any questions here or on the chat?
No, I enjoyed that. Was a fun teaching.
Okay.
We're going to get our closing scripture. We're going to be in Psalms 125. And we're going to read verses 1 through 2.
Psalms 125, 1 through 2.
Psalms chapter 125, verse 1.
They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people, from henceforth even forever.
So we give our praise to the Most High for this lesson going out. Again, please join us for our Thursday book report at 9 p.m. our Friday Shabbat lessons at 9 p.m. and our Saturday Shabbat lessons at 1 p.m., all Eastern Standard Time. And again, we have our women's doctrine teaching Saturday, January 11th at 1 p.m.
So please share with,
Yes, please share with whoever you know.
all women and men,
Mm-hmm.
let them know about the teaching.
If you have enjoyed this teaching and have found it educational, please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit the bell notification so you can get notified when we go live. Kwame Yasharala.
Wow, Yashala.